One of these days I'm gonna remember to my glasses so I can read clearly.
Hey Brooklyn, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good. Phoebe?
Not too wet.
No, I felt like I was drowning the last 2 days. Geez, I was coming down.
Yeah.
Kind of cooped up in the house.
You have a meeting after this yet?
Nope.
All right.
One Tuesday a month, and it happened to be the same
course, yeah.
Tuesday.
That was my fault for the time
Well,
was supposed
no.
to be different. But I was, creature habit.
Okay, so just a few years before she graduated.
You guys ready?
Oh, yes, sorry.
I'm gonna go ahead and call to order a common council meeting of the City of Brookings, City Council meeting at 7 p.m. Let's stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Brooklyn, would you please do roll call?
Councilor Malmberg.
Here?
Councilor Freda.
Here?
Councilor Martin.
Here.
Councilor Fulton.
Here.
Mayor Hodges.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. I'm moving on to D, ceremonies, appointments, and announcements. City Council liaison appointment, Harbor Sanitary District, and I believe Andy, you wanted to speak to this? Councilor Martin.
Well, I got a call from Harbor Sanitary District last week about the contract with the city, which needs to be renegotiated. They have a sense of urgency because of their budget cycle. We also have our cycle, but the previous contract, there's a couple of different ways to interpret it, but it says that there's two on a committee to negotiate the contract. There's two representatives from the City of Brookings from the governing body and two from the Harbor Sanitary District. Right now we have one liaison, which is myself, and each government body has staff members as well. So if you interpret the previous contract with the sanitary district of having two council members and the support staff on there, we would need to appoint a second council member to participate in those discussions. But I know Tony and Lou have more background on this.
Were you wanting Tony to chime in, or?
I don't know if you want to, do you feel it's necessary that we appoint a second member?
It's your decision. I mean, we haven't had that in the past, so we've only had one counselor on the panel and staff. So it's your call.
There are some of the more technical issues with the contract for the Harbor Sanitary District, of course. We dispose of their sewage through our treatment plant. I guess I'm fine either way, but there is, if we want to have a second council member on that negotiating committee, we would need to make that appointment.
I guess my question is, has this been an issue, or did they bring it up as an issue? Has it brought concern?
They had some other concerns about the amount of time since the contract's been expired and not having a contract, and some billing questions. So they said there's uncertainty for their budget. Our finance office knows roughly what we'd be charging them. Issues that are going to come up are debt service. We have the new debt with the USDA loans, and there's an issue about the interceptor pipe in Brookings. So, some technical stuff that I'm not really familiar with, our staff is. But they were, they wanted to see us get moving on these negotiations, and then they pointed out the contract that said 2 members from each governing body, and we'd signed that previously. So I told them I would bring it up to the council at the next meeting.
Well, it seems to me that even if it hasn't been the practice that 2 have been in place, if the contract says that 2 are going to be, we should abide by that or change that.
Well, if another council member has time to join the negotiations, it's a substantial amount of money that the city collects from the sanitary district. I was hoping that Councilor Malmberg would be interested, since he does have the most experience of being the council members dealing with these infrastructure type projects and what's involved with it.
I might share with you that the last go-around, it was extensive, many meetings, time-consuming, just so. And they are during the day, so if you just keep that in mind.
I would normally probably jump right on and offer to help out, but I think after the last meeting, I'm on 3 committees after the last meeting, so I don't know if I could make time for a 4th in addition to, my employment and being on the city council. So hesitant to take on another position, and I would rather defer to someone else for that opportunity. I'm certainly willing to, provide support if there's some other way to do that, but I don't know that I could, dedicate the amount of time that would be required to jump on another committee on top of the airport committee, on top of the traffic study committee, and on top of the Southwest Oregon Commission on Transportation Committee and the city council. So just feel like a little spread thin. So.
Previously, the former mayor represented the city on the committee, primarily because he'd been involved, for his entire tenure with the city council. But I'm fine either way, and I will keep the council informed of, what happens at these meetings. But I said I would bring it to the attention of the council at the next meeting, and that's what I'm doing.
I would be willing to, I clearly don't have the expertise that Councilor Momler does, but I would be willing to step in and do that so that we have a second and are abiding by that contract. And would appreciate us being able to reach out to you for
Sure.
insight and information. And I would be happy to do that.
I think also, just to add, Tony's got a significant amount of experience and information, and on this specifically, I'm sure, and hoping that he'd still be available to assist as needed. He's got way more information than I would be able to provide. I have a general civil engineering background, but not the specifics of the Harbor Sanitary District specifics.
Well, I think obviously staff would be our primary source of information on how to make the best decision on that contract. Our staff, which Tony and Lou are very familiar with the previous contract.
Well, I support Councilor Britta and Councilor Martin just to make sure we fulfill the contract as we've signed, and you're both willing. It is an appointment, so I don't believe we have to do an official motion. Correct on that? It's just an appointment for that. So does anyone have an issue? All right, well, I think that's that then. Thank you. Moving on to agenda item E, scheduled public appearance. This is an informational presentation to the council on non-agenda items. It's a 10-minute limit per person, so 10-minute limit. Coast Community Health, David Gilmore and Laura McKean.
Good evening, Mayor Hodges, councilors, chief, citizens. I'm Dave Gilmore. I'm the project manager for a presentation that I'm going to give you this evening about we're calling it the Rush Building Update. Essentially what we've been working on is expanding healthcare services in Brookings. And under the auspices, if you will, of a federally qualified health center. So it's something we've been working on. And I believe that you all have slides and the audience will have it up to my left. One of the things I realized, or I guess I didn't realize, is when you take a project like this on, that you're dealing with federal jurisdictions, you're dealing with asbestos, lead, you're dealing with environmental assessments, things take time. And so we're to the point now where we're gaining momentum, and I'd really like to talk to you about that today. So if we could go to the next slide, please. So what service will be provided? We've talked about this a couple times, but I realize we have a new council. So I want to take a step back a little bit and talk about that just to catch everyone up on what we're doing and what services will be provided. I think it's important that we talk about key partners. This doesn't happen in a vacuum. It really takes a village, it takes a team, it takes a city to pull it off and make it happen right. I want to go through the space layout with you. It may be a little bit of an eye chart. We'll see what that looks like, but I can talk to the eye chart as well. Our progress, what we've been working on, and our next steps. Next slide, please. So services, primary care. We're going to be adding primary care to Brookings. It will be in the form of 2 primary care providers. So typically you will look to about 1,000 per provider, maybe a little more. So anywhere from 2,000 to 2,500 capacity to see patients in panel to the primary care. We are doing what we call integrated behavioral health. So it's a team-based care concept. In the old days, you took vitals and you got patients to the providers and they did everything. Well, we have integrated behavioral health that can take care of those needs. We have certified medical assistants. We have nursing that will take care of the nursing needs. And it will be really a team concept, and that's what we're building out for. You'll see the plan, but also the team that we're putting together. We'll continue to have our outreach, community outreach that we have. It's a 1D position right now. Isabel Valdez, maybe some of you know Isabel. She's a diamond. She really gets out there and does great services for the community and the people that call Brookings home. 340B pharmacy. Whenever I stop and say we're going to be adding a pharmacy, I think everyone just goes, oh my gosh, another pharmacy in Brookings, that'll be wonderful. It will be. The primary audience for that pharmacy will be those patients that are in panel primary care, and also the dental practice, as well as I'm going to talk a little bit about psych nurse practitioner that we'll have in the building too on a contract. So patients will be able to come to the clinic, see their provider, primary care. They'll be able to fill their prescriptions before they leave and go home with their medicines. Same would happen for dental care as well as a psych nurse practitioner. I talked about dental services. That's something we're partnering with All Care, CCO, and Laura's going to talk about that. I'm not going to steal her thunder, but we're working with a dental care organization to provide dental services as well. Slide, please. Partners. So this wouldn't happen without Dr. and Hazel Rush. They're the owners of the building, hence the name, the Rush Building. By the way, we're looking to change that name too. So either land on the Brookings Community Health Center, or it will be the Brookings Health and Wellness Center. So we're still kind of working through that. But by the time we open, it will have an official name. Travis Butler is our architect. He's been working with Tony and his team, and he has a lot of experience in commercial and healthcare facilities. The city of Brookings, this couldn't happen without all of you. And again, I mentioned Tony and his team. They really help us to get things taken care of and in a very timely manner. The Oregon Health Authority, All Care CCO, Equity Dental is our dental care organization. And we're very close to a space lease with them. So it's just the final touches of a space lease. And I mentioned a psych nurse practitioner, Avant, Mental Health Services will provide psych nurse practitioner care, and that will occur initially upstairs. The plan is to open that up in March, so it's less than 2 months away, and we will have that service. Now I'd like to take a moment to turn it over to Laura for a couple slides on really what we're doing with our dental project.
Thank you. Mayor, Brothers, Councilors, thank you. Can we go to the next slide, please? My name is Laura, and I'm the Senior Director of Oral Health Services and Community Engagement for All Care. We're one of the 15 coordinated care organizations here in Oregon. Primarily, we serve Jackson, Josephine, Curry, and Southern Douglas. So I spend a lot of time in Curry County. If anyone is familiar with dental services here in Curry County, whether you're Medicaid, Medicare, or private pay, they're very difficult to come by. I know a lot of commercial dental folks that come to Grants Pass or Medford to get their dental care. I primarily work with the Medicaid patients and the Medicare patients for dental access. So this project is very important to me, as I want to make sure everyone has access to equitable dental care. So what we've done is we're partnering, as Dave said, with Coast Community Health, the Oregon Health Authority. We've been working on a project for about 5 years now. Started up in Port Orford to bring dental services there. We didn't quite get to the goal that we wanted to. This opportunity came up, so we decided let's move south a little bit and see if we can get dental in here. Currently in Curry County, there is one dental care organization, that's Advantage Dental, to serve the Medicaid patients. Providers are very difficult to come by, as I'm preaching to the choir, I'm sure. Getting dentists to come here is really challenging. So with the 5,000 members approximately that All Care has, and then you have Advanced Health, which is the other CCO here, which has members, we need more dentists in here to serve our members. So we're working with Dave, as I said, we're working with Dr. Mike Shercliffe and Adam Brantlin, who is with Equity Dental. They're more of like a managed dental organization. They're not technically classified as a dental care organization as far as the Oregon Health Authority goes. But they have a network of dentists that want to come in and provide services here. So we've been working with them and Coast to get a space up and running. It'll have a couple of dental chairs. We met with the dentist I was here last Friday night, the dental Brad that's going to come in. Hopefully we can get him to provide dental services. His wife, soon-to-be wife, is an OT. That would just add to what we need here in Curry County. So we're hoping that we can get this up and running, utilizing that HRSA grant funding and the partnerships between all of us together. Next slide. So where we're at now is we're recruiting, we're going to onboard. We want a dentist and hopefully a hygienist and staff. The membership in Curry County for Equity Dental, which is going to be providing the dental services, is yet to be determined. We'll see how many folks haven't had dental services in the past couple of years. We'll reach out to those folks and say, hey, there's a new entity in town. We have the ability to provide dental services to you. Are you interested in seeing them? And that, again, will be for fee-for-service, so it's commercial dental plans, Medicaid, Medicare, whoever wants to be seen there. We will look at the structure that we're going to have with Equity Dental as far as pay goes. Currently, many of the coordinated care organizations operate on a capitation payment method. We might be doing that or something different. That's yet to be determined. And again, access, I'm reaching the choir. I don't have to tell you how that is. I live in Medford because I work for All Care, but I'm here probably 3 times a month working, so I really consider this my second home. I've been doing this for 10 years now, traveling back and forth. This town and this county is near and dear to my heart, and I want to see dental access get better here. Next slide. Okay, thank you very much.
Next slide. Okay. Look like that came out. Well, I've talked about this already, and I can talk in detail, but I'll keep it high level. About 1,800 square feet for a dental practice, 4 exam rooms and a procedure room for primary care, integrated behavioral health with a treatment room, a nurse room, medication room, lab draw station. We'll be putting all those things to include a 340B pharmacy in the space. Next slide. So what have we been up to? So working with HRSA, got all of our documents in, and we're up to the point now where they're going to release funds. That's good. That's a good sign. You want to be able to release those funds. We've concluded a contractor bid meeting this last week, and we're in the process of selecting a contractor for that work. I will let you know that we put RFPs out to 6 contractors. 4 of those are local. One was Eugene and one was Portland. So really tried to keep that local, and I can tell you that the Portland contractor, the subs are all Brookings Harbor area. And I think there's a Medford in there too for HVAC. But just, it's something that's important to us. Construction permits are completed and ready. We just have to pay the bill, pick them up, and the check's in the mail. So we're working that. The partner space leases, we talked about the dental practice, just the final touches on that, and the psych nurse practitioner. It's a fully executed agreement. It's going to open the 1st of March. And we're in discussions with the Rushes to purchase the building versus leasing, and I think that's important too, that that may be decided by the end of the month. So when you put over $1 million into a building, you like to know it's your own building and not a lease space. Next slide, please. So the next steps. So we expect renovation to begin 1st of next month. We're working on the furniture and equipment. Those are additional costs that that are quite hefty. We're looking at some fundraising. One of them that comes to mind is the Ford Family Foundation. I've done some work with grants in the past, and so I've already begun that project. We also would like to get it back on the docket to talk with the city about a potential parking lot arrangement. It's just a handshake right now, and we had tried to do that last year, and it really didn't come to fruition. So we're hopeful in 2024 we can complete that. And we're expecting to ribbon cut and see our first patient no later than July 1st. So that's our plan. That's where we're at this time. Every day's a little different, but we're progressing, and we're excited about it.
Well, you did well.
I like to stay on time.
Yeah.
Being on time, being on time. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, on the agenda, F, oral requests and communications from the audience. Is there any more? Okay. That's fine. Okay. Up first, Connie Hunter. And when you come up, please name and address.
Okay, I'm Connie Hunter, 13 Benjamin Court, but I'm talking tonight as a member and an officer of the VA Mental Health Advocacy Council. A lot of people look at me and go, well, that's the veteran lady. Well, I'm not a veteran, but I do serve veterans, and I have since working in a veterans service office on campus during Vietnam. I've been around the world. By the way, Dave Gilmore and Laura McKean, everyone working with you in all the things that we do together with the CCO. But I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the work that I've done at the state level in support of veterans, some of the big ticket items that we've been able to accomplish. And I have 3 listed, but I'm going to try and cover more than that. The State of Oregon's peer respite program, I participated in a year-long process writing the administrative rules for peer respite programs. Of course, we hope to get peer respite in Curry County in general, but we'd like to see more on behalf of veterans. The opioid tapering guidelines task force, I have had 10 years prescription for opioids. I never liked it, didn't want to be on it, and hated the fact that I couldn't manage my pain until I had surgery. And insurance plans will string you along for a very long time. So as a member of the opioid tapering guideline task force, I was a person with lived experience. But the reason that I got involved with that was triggered by veterans when the VA cut all veterans' opioids in half without tapering. In Curry County, 15 veterans came to me with that issue. As a result, we ended up having to work and come up with a palliative care provider, which is now Dr. Silver. Of those 15 veterans, the VA was able to help with their whole health program, about 8 of them, 7 of them struggling, and that's where palliative care came into play. However, we did lose one veteran, and I can't connect dots for absolute certain, but in my heart of hearts, I know this to be true, used street drugs, and we lost him. Zero suicide in healthcare was a state-level program that trying very hard to get our healthcare networks to have their frontline employees trained and screening for high risk for suicide. Another hat that I wear is that on the Curry County Suicide Awareness and Prevention Council, I do represent veteran service members and their families, which is about 50% of the population of Curry County, by the way. But the cost of Curry Health Network has been really high and hasn't happened. But to add to that problem and the need is in, well, January 17, 2023, the law came into effect according to the Department of Veterans Affairs that any veteran, whether enrolled in the VA healthcare system or not, that is an acute suicidal crisis can go to the VA or non-VA facility and receive up to a month of inpatient care and 3 months of outpatient care without cost. Now, the Mental Health Advocacy Council's concern about that is that our healthcare networks aren't even prepared to receive those veterans. Okay? So we have to look at that training and that important piece of that puzzle. Another thing that I was involved with is Senate Bill 420. Worked real hard. We had a veterans brain injury workshop in Town Hall. We brought the state advocate for veterans and service members for brain injuries and the state. He's the same person, the state advocate for brain injuries. His name is Dave Cracky. He's an attorney. He wrote that legislation. We have reached out to him and asked him to develop legislation, and I have a meeting with him on Thursday for hyperbaric oxygen therapy support at the state level, a fund similar to what the state of North Carolina has. And then I have to say it was great to have Dave Gilmore attend the VA Healthcare Summit 2.0 that I convened in 2018 to focus on behavioral health. The first one we did on medical, and that's when we put the contract with the VA in place so that the healthcare network could receive referrals. And so we hope to do the same kind of thing. And of course, the Mission Act made it so that community care was a big and important piece of the puzzle. But when we focused on behavioral health and mental health at the state level, we did reach out to the director at Oregon Health Authority, who is the director over behavioral health, and we brought him down, and he participated. And this goes back to some history that I had. When I worked for the largest community mental health center in the state of Arizona, we sued the state of Arizona on behalf of individuals because they were funding less for mental health than every state. Every other state in the U.S. and Puerto Rico, when Oregon got that same distinction, I had some sabers throughout because we won 49 of those 50 cases, and some of those cases were veterans. So we knew if the VA didn't perform, especially in the area of mental health, the responsibility falls back on the state. So we have co-authority and co-responsibility, so you can get a lot done. So we made that point, and what came from that was a request for a 5-year strategic plan specific to veterans behavioral health, and we got that. It's time for another one. So I'll be talking to you about how we can get us support from the city of Brookings to get that next 5-year strategic plan specific to veterans behavioral health. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Michael Frederick?
Hi, Mike Frederick, 1683 Overflow Road, Brookings. I want to say I'm really encouraged and hopeful about having a fresh new council with new minds and new perspectives and not a set new mindset. I think this is a great opportunity for Brookings. I want to talk about the TLT money, the transient lodging tax. It comes from temporary lodging. It's supposed to support promoting tourism, which will support those facilities also. The state guideline for that, the mandate is 70%, and that went into effect 2003. City of Brookings got grandfathered because they have something in place prior to that. So they only do 25%, which is barely a third of what the state suggests. Comparing those things, Coquille does 60%, Cold Beach does 77.9%, Reedsport does 92.9%, Brookings does 25%. I think almost everyone up here, if not everyone up here, has expressed that either in the interviews for candidacy for council positions or in statements made during the process or after they were on council about the importance of tourism. And that is a big deal for Brookings. And I think the 25% doing the absolute minimum that's required by law doesn't demonstrate a real big sign of importance or support for tourism. And I would hope that the council at some point would take it upon themselves to just look at that and perhaps reconsider that percentage and do a number that was a little more meaningful. The TPAC. TPAC used to be where people went, Tourism Promotion Advisory Committee, if I have that right. Yeah. They would bring their proposals for new events. And when I first started going to meetings back in 2015, the big thing all the time was heads and beds, because that's where the money comes from, that's where we're supposed to get the money back into, which helps all the hospitality business, restaurants, everything, sport fishing, all of it. So the members of that committee wanted to continue moving on. I talked to them right after it was disbanded. I talked to them again recently, a few of them. They wanted to continue with that. It was a great resource. You had all these different business owners, community members, different backgrounds. They did their own research, brought lots of different perspectives. You know, like any other committee, it really didn't cost the city much at all. I think it should be brought back. I think it's a tremendous asset. I know the last 4 years, things have been thrown a curve, everything's out the window kind of, but I think it's time to get back to really trying to develop some new events again. I think we've had 3 things in the not too distant past year. One, been several years, the Mushroom Festival, been a great event. But I think we have a couple more that really could use some serious support to get them off the ground. Film Festival and yoga event, which I can't remember the name again now, but this is a yoga, wellness, body, mind, health event that being in a coastal community, I think it could really take off. But I think we need to start putting that money back into those things. It was misstated by the previous city manager that the old maximum used to be $2,000. It was always $3,000. I got $3,000 more than once for events that we started. I think that would be great, and it'd be a great incentive. It's become, in talking to applicants, really restrictive on handing that money out. I think incentivizing starting those events would be a really good thing, and I think offering to give them a few $100 after the event is over isn't much of an incentive. Every event we did, we got the money ahead of time, which really helps you to do the event. You know, I don't think that probably is a festival or fireworks get their money after the event. I would be willing to help if the city was interested, or if they would just like to do it themselves, but I think it would be great to pull the businesses, the lodging facilities and so on in town, with the restaurants, and say, when do they think would be the most efficient times to spend the money to promote tourism here? I think the Azalea Festival is great, I think fireworks are great, but I think spending a significant amount of the transit lodging tax money on times when the city's already full, which I've heard from several of these business owners, isn't the most effective use of that spending. I would like to just mention again that Gold Beach, as a third of the population that we do, they get more TLT money than we do, and yet they still put more than 3 times the percentage of it into supporting tourism. I think they are demonstrating very significant importance of tourism to their community, and I think we could reevaluate that. So, thank you.
I'd like to support Mike's ideas. I'm Mark Osher with the Water Rivers Film Festival on 468 Water Road.
So, sorry.
Oh,
You have to fill out a form
oh, sorry.
and come on up for that. Do you want to speak? You can fill out a form and speak after the last person if you'd like.
Anyway, we'll go with Mike's idea.
Okay, all right.
I'm out about an hour ago.
Fair enough, fair enough. So next up, Thien Alliance.
Okay, Thien Alliance, 96305 Spindrift Lane, Brookings. Mine will be really brief. Mayor Hodges, I emailed you, and I'm not sure if you got my email. I just wanted 2 questions answered, if you could. I wanted to know the severance pay for the city manager that left. I think, with taxpayers, we probably should know that figure. And also, I wanted to find out, let's see, that was that one. I have another question about her. But anyway, I'm going to go back to that. But I don't know if you got my email. I put it on the website, and you pick who you want to talk to, or okay.
I will review.
Okay, no problem. I know you're busy.
Check
and I
junk
just wanted to
too.
know.
Check your junk email too,
Okay.
because I had something there.
Could have been in the junk. Yes. So anyway, also I wanted to mention, I know you guys can't do anything about this, but I wanted to bring to your attention, to the audience, to the television viewers. I got a call this morning from OSHA regarding the needles and the feces in the library bathrooms. At the last board meeting last Tuesday, the director mentioned that there was, I guess, happening for a while, needles and feces in there, and they pretty much, she said that we have to serve everyone, which I get, but instead of possibly thinking about maybe locking the doors or something, to pay the person who cleans more money. So anyway, I just wanted to bring that to your attention and to everyone's attention, that it just seems like it would be an easier thing to do is to lock the bathrooms. I did ask the gentleman at OSHA if he could expand his thinking and maybe just suggest, I know they can't mandate anything, but they could at least find out if they can lock them. He asked me if the lady or whoever's doing it has PPE. I said, I don't know. It was brought up, it wasn't on the agenda that we could discuss, and you can't really discuss anything, you can't ask questions or anything like that, and I didn't want to wait another month for the next meeting to be able to ask that question. So I thought, well, I don't know if she has PPE, I don't know if they have a Sharpie container for the needles, I don't know any of that, and so I said, that's your call, you call and you find out. And if they don't have it, maybe they should get it, if that's the case. So anyway, just wanted to bring that to your attention, and thank you.
Thank you.
And Jeannie, I'm going to... Jamora, thank you.
Hi, I'm Jeannie Jamara. I live at 96160 Caperilla Road, and I've been in residence for 28 years up on Caperilla. what I'm going to talk about kind of leads into what I was just saying. It's part of the problem. And so, first of all, I want to thank the city of Brookings for your concern about the new challenges that lie ahead of us, and for your efforts to keep Brookings beautiful. I want to bring to your attention Oregon statute, which you have 164-805, that was passed and current by legislation effective January 1st, 2024. And it's to enforce litter laws in Oregon. Your copy doesn't have that date, but here I have a copy here that says that it's current through legislation effective January 1, 2024. So there are hidden costs to littering, and the surveys have shown that homeowners, realtors, and business owners believe that litter significantly decreases their property's value and deters visitors. And I do have a close friend that has a business close to the library. She's having a lot of problems with litter, transients, people sleeping in her doorways, and such things. So, what I'd like to say is littering is a problem that tends to compound quickly. Case in point, I alerted authorities of 5 black bags of trash on the corner of 101 and South Bank Road. A few days went by after that, and I drove by to see if it was gone. It wasn't gone, but there were a few new white bags added to it. So after that, I come this way from my house down 101 and right past, I think it's Harris Heights Road right there on the east side of the street. There's been a lot of problems over there. They've had to tow people away. They've had to clean up a lot of litter over there. People have pulled in there, and a couple of vans just decided they weren't going to live there. And so I'm sure we've spent a lot of money trying to keep that area free of people that want to boondock over there and clean up the mess. When I was coming into town and I saw an old pickup truck over there with a camper shell loaded to the brim inside with who knows what. And I said to myself, I hope this fella doesn't think that that's someplace he's going to stay, because I know it's been an ongoing problem. So as I was going home, I looked over there and he was gone, but what he left were 2 white big bags of trash for us. This is the problem that I want to bring to you. Illegal boondocking and littering is escalating. RVs with no access to water, sewage, or garbage collection are just camping on the Rainbow Rock viewpoint over there. One fellow's been there for over a year. He has a truck, he had a motorcycle, he has 2 dogs in there, and he has no way to have fresh water, sewage disposal. And now there's sometimes as much as 7 or 8 RVs and trailers over there. And he's been there over a year. There's people that have been over there for months, people that's been there for weeks. So during the summer, I would think that there will be a lot more people staying in a free ocean view area. I don't want us to be naive about the methods that they use. No services available. They are actually breaking the law. As you see, 164-805 stipulates that if signs are posted that they're breaking the law, and it is punishable with a fine of $500 or Class C misdemeanor. I know a lot of these people don't have any money, but if you see a sign that says, and I put it in your packet, no illegal dumping, littering, Oregon statute 164-805, $500 fine, Class C misdemeanor, DEQ tip line. If that sign is posted, they'll think twice about dumping wherever they're located. Now, I've had a reliable source tell me that that area where they're parked over there, they are throwing the feces over the side, and the Welcome to Brookings sign, there's a trail there where the surfers would go down. It's full of sewage, raw sewage. So we definitely have a problem. When I called the police to ask them if somebody could pick up the litter, he encouraged me to come in front of the city council, and that's why I'm here today. Now, there are more laws available to us, and I gave you another sheet there. It talks about the laws.
Jeannie, we're getting over, just
Okay.
if you can wrap it
Well,
up.
I want you to just be aware, on this sheet here are the laws that are associated with boondocking, with dumping, with littering. And what I want to do is see if you can't enforce these laws. And I would like to see if we can't get some of those signs posted. There's certain areas where we definitely need them. Up on Carpenterville, people are just going up there and dumping. We've got raw sewage around the Welcome to Brookings sign. And across the street from that, there's another guy that's been parked over there. DEQ has brought big boulders because they had to tow away a big motorhome from there, and somebody ripped the door off and threw garbage everywhere. So DEQ did that, and now somebody's parked in front of the boulders. So we do need these signs posted, and I think as we go forward in time, we're going to wish we had kept up with the situation, because it may get bigger than what we have resources to deal with. So I ask you to consider getting some of these signs made, and do you have any questions for me?
No, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
And last one, Amanda Whitmore.
Hi, I'm Amanda Whittemore. I live at 1033 Checo Avenue across the street. And there's really a zillion things to say. It's mostly thank you. And I thought Brookings is the happiest place I've ever lived. And I hope we can keep making it that way. And I am the International Yoga Gathering Festival that Mike was talking about. And it's something that has worked in many other places in the world for places that are dealing with trash issues, that are dealing with drug issues, that are dealing with their neighbors, that are dealing with ways of quality living. And I represent this in every way possible. I have a radio show, KCIW, Quality Living, and we encourage people to educate and bring awareness of how to be neighborly and best resolve all these problems. The tourist funding program is a miraculous program, and unfortunately it was handled in a certain way to where it wasn't utilized best as its true intentions were to be. However, I believe that with this new light and love that we have here with the council, that we can create it, and I'm willing to participate on the committee meeting. I'm also with the Wild Rivers Film Festival, and I'm on the advisory board, Harmony nonprofit organization, board member. Work at Century 21, but I absolutely am impressed with the evolution of this community, because when I came in 5 years ago, it was pretty scary, and we're at a really happy place, and I think that with just the extra push and a little bit more arrangement, that we all could do just as great as we intended to do originally. And thank you, Mike, for all you have to say and do. That's me, that's it. Thank you.
Okay, moving on to G, consent calendar. Approve council minutes for January 8th, 2024. Approve council minutes for January 16th, 2024. And receive monthly financial report for December 2023.
I move to approve the consent calendar.
I second.
Call the question?
Counselor Martin.
Yes.
Counselor Fulton.
Yes.
Counselor Pereira.
Yes.
Counselor Malmberg.
Yes.
Mayor Hodges.
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you. Moving on to H, staff reports, public hearings, ordinances, resolutions, and final orders. Number one is a support letter on the Curry County Battery and Microgrid project. Do you want to speak to that, Tom?
Yep, thank you, Mayor Hodges, members of the council. Our coastal communities face significant challenges from natural disasters. Power outages disrupt crucial services and affect critical infrastructure in places like Gold Beach, Brookings, and throughout Curry County. Coos Curry Electric intends to engage in a promising opportunity to enhance our resilience by exploring microgrid and battery energy storage solutions to support the power grid in these vulnerable areas. Through this scoping phase, Curry County and Coos Curry Electric Cooperative will identify potential sites and solutions for microgrids and battery storage systems. This will inform our future decisions about construction grants. Coos Curry Electric is requesting a letter of support from the city for the Curry County Battery and Microgrid Project application. I've attached a copy of the letter for the mayor to sign. Any questions?
I've read the letter. I think it's great. I have no issue.
Yeah, I support that. I think the city should stand behind that project and issue a letter of support.
Any other discussion?
I will motion to authorize the mayor to sign the letter of support on behalf of Coos Curry Electric to the Oregon Office of Emergency Management for Curry County Battery and Microgrid Project application.
Second.
Call the question?
Counselor Fulton.
Yes.
Counselor Pruitt.
Yes.
Counselor Mullenberg.
Yes.
Counselor Martin.
Yes.
Mayor Hodges.
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you. Moving on to agenda item H2, City Manager Pro Tem hiring discussion. And I believe Councilor Martin is going to speak to this.
Well, a couple of things. I sent an email to the council regarding the meeting with the staff on Wednesday morning. I hope everybody got a chance to look at that. There were some concerns from staff of a temporary or a pro tem while we search for a permanent city manager, and how efficient work is done, and training and so forth. And then also the police chief's, how he felt about serving in that capacity, while also overseeing the police department. And everybody got the email today with some more information about that. And then for the recruiting, I saw we have I don't remember if it was the email or the stuff in the packet about the recruiting agencies. The one that we got the quote from, is that the one that you recommended, or were you recommending a different company?
I wasn't aware that you guys had actually received that yet, but yes, I did receive a quote. That is not for this interim position, that would be for the permanent position.
We received a bid from Columbia Limited. I'm not sure where they're based out of, if that was the firm that you're familiar with, is it?
That is the firm that I'm familiar with, yes.
So that's the first one that we have a quote from. And just so the council and the public knows, these recruiting agencies help us post the position, and they already have a group of candidates with city manager experience that are interested in the permanent position, and they help advertise and market that to potential candidates. And in the past, this is different than the League of Oregon Cities, and in my limited knowledge of them, they've had a fairly high success rate in recruiting quality candidates with experience. Some of the other council members are more familiar with them. Anyways, I would like to see us move forward in retaining one of these companies to to help us with the recruitment. The cost of the first company that we have a bid from is $27,000. That's to create some marketing materials to present it to a number of candidates and get resumes for us of people that are interested. And that's probably going to be the going rate for using one of these recruiting firms. So I guess we'll start there.
Okay. Yeah, again, that would not be for the interim position. That's something that would be for the permanent position. I did speak to the CEO and founder of that firm. My familiarity with them came from the city we lived in previously, who have now hired them for a fourth position for that community, and other communities in the area have utilized their services as well. And personal recommendations, they could not recommend them highly enough. They have had overwhelming success, which is why they've continued to reach out for their services again and again. It's a very personal, hands-on, involved process. When I spoke with them, he speaks with each council member individually, speaks with key staff, anybody that the council would ask him to speak with, to include community members, etc., and is involved in every step of the process. So if you guys haven't read through that packet, I would encourage it. It really breaks down that process very clearly.
So for the recruitment, we've got a response from one of those firms, Columbia Limited, and there's 2 additional firms that we're waiting for their proposals. I don't know if we need to. Do we have to have a certain number of bids or quotes for this, or if we see one that we want to move forward with, can we just do it?
I would imagine, excuse me, just like a quote process, I imagine we'll need 3 quotes for the council to be able to decide on. And I did send that information out tonight, but we have just preliminary. I wasn't prepared to talk about it tonight since it's the permanent position. I do expect to have more information later this week or next week that I'll be able to send on and have for a future either workshop or council meeting.
I'd like to, just if we're going to go with, and first off, I fully support, using whatever different avenues it takes to get a permanent city manager on as soon as possible. And I think that we're going to have to get creative in using some of these firms to do some of that recruitment. I think in terms of reviewing bid proposals, we would need to ensure that they're all bidding on the same thing. So this isn't like a level of service type of agreement where you're gauging one proposal versus another, and the cost might be different, but then again also what they're proposing might be different. So if we're going to hold ourselves to the lowest bid type situation, we need to be very clear about what it is we're asking each of the firms to provide, so that we can be transparent about that process. I wish and would prefer that we would be able to look at them objectively and go, okay, well, this firm's offering this and this firm's offering that, and let's go with the thing that make the most sense for us. But I don't know if we can or can't do that. But if we can't do that, then I want to make just real clear that each of the firms are all bidding on the exact same thing. This many hours of service doing this function for with this amount of resources provided, so that we're comparing apples to apples.
So the other, and looking at the council report for tonight, we need to decide if we are going to continue with Chief McCray as the pro tem, or move swiftly in hiring a pro tem for the up to 6-month period that we're allowed to under the city charter. Just relaying the staff's concern, there was quite a bit of concern as we work, as staff works on projects that are already underway and the budget process of having to train somebody to help them through that process, or if they can operate their departments as with their present leadership without, I think the best way to say this, they don't want to, they want it to be a smooth process for the entire staff without having to train somebody, put a lot of time into training somebody who's going to be here for a short period of time. So that was one of the bigger concerns from the staff. Yes, give other people a chance to talk before I continue too much.
Well, I would just say, I mean, we have not quite a week into this situation. We have, thankfully, Chief McRae stepping in and I believe doing an exemplary job. It's, it's difficult. We're a green council and a green city manager, and that's the way it is, but we can function in this capacity and look for the right procedures and do our bidding process in the correct manner. And that will roll out as we move forward to get a permanent, I believe, at least for right now, not even a week into this, that we allow Chief McRae to sort of feel things out and move forward in our current situation. And if things become where we need to address change, moving him back into the full-time chief position for whatever the reason, then we really press to get another interim in here, and we'll have to do that. But I don't know that we're making a problem necessarily that exists right now. Right now we sort of have a track we're on, and I think maybe personally I feel like we can let it roll out for a while and address issues, of course, as they come, and make sure we give our city manager all the support we can and all the resources we can, and he again expressed to us if he's running into issues or concerns, and and as that unfolds, then maybe we would need to look at another interim. But for now, I would rather just sort of put our ducks in a row in doing the right thing to get a full-time permanent and allow for the current city manager to let things play out for a little bit.
I would, agree with everything Isaac just said, and I really appreciate Chief McRae stepping up and supporting his city. At this time, we're all new, as you mentioned, to the city council, and we all felt that same calling. Not all, at least three of us here felt that same calling that, hey, the city needs our help. Let's offer it. If I was always raised up that if somebody asks for help, you offer, and I really appreciate Chief McRae offering to help out and continuing to do so for as long as it takes to, hopefully not too long, to bring on a permanent city manager. And I would support continuing to have Chief McRae carry out that role.
I do have a question with the police union negotiations coming up. What is our timeline on that, and what involvement can you have in that, and what is the city charter state for completing those negotiations?
So those negotiations, as far as the opening and timeline, hasn't been established yet. The city does have a labor attorney to be able to reach out to and to speak with, and get input and guidance from them. And so that's something that will happen in the near future, but it's not something that I've had the opportunity to address yet.
Is this something that has to be completed during the budget cycle that we're beginning, and they have to be completed before the budget's approved?
Well, we always try to, because that just makes, gives the numbers that the city finance director needs to be able to make an accurate budget. And so certainly that's always the desire, is that things go smoothly, and that's able to be determined before the budget process is finished, so that we have accurate numbers. In the case if it's not, then the finance director makes estimates, assumptions, as close as possible to be able to complete the budget. And then after the new year begins, July 1st, then would have to make any adjustments necessary as soon as that contract is completed and signed.
I think when we get to those pieces, Councilor Martin, we will have to the city manager's point, we have an attorney that really, that's what they practice and what they focus on. And I haven't spoken to them, but as an FYI, we did see that was coming down the road. And I think that's a discussion that we're definitely going to have to dig into a little bit further. But I think for tonight, and just the city manager's status and next steps, I don't know that I would make that a big part of the discussion for tonight.
Well, I think one thing that we do need to look at, so Chief McCray basically found out at our meeting last Tuesday that he's the acting police chief. I'm sorry, the acting city manager. From what I understand, the city handbook has the policy on how a staff member being required to take on additional responsibilities is handled. Do we feel that this is above that, where we need to negotiate a short-term contract or agreement with the chief, or just go with what the city handbook says? This is a above and beyond column that we just put him into, and we really haven't talked about if there's any additional compensation for the extra workload that we've put on him of being the interim city manager plus running the police department.
I think we run a fine line in talking employment particulars like that, but for a general statement, I think that is a great discussion. There should be fair and equitable compensation for extra duties, absolutely. So maybe that's something for, unless you, yeah, I personally would feel more comfortable when it gets to employment discussions, doing it with an attorney, so I don't say something I shouldn't.
I think that in my experience, people in that type of position are usually do temporary out-of-class assignment compensation. And I think that we should probably have an executive meeting with the attorney to discuss that and iron out the details of that, as well as iron out the details of whether or not we truly need 3 bids, or how those bids need to come across for the execution of the consulting firm or whoever to help us to find the permanent replacement. So maybe a focus exec staff meeting with the city attorney on those 2 issues, just so that we can, I propose we do that, so that we can feel more confident in making those types of calls.
And maybe any of those details that we need in regards to the negotiations with the union. Mm-hmm.
So if we decide to, I don't know, do we need to make a decision tonight on continuing for Chief McCray to continue as the interim city manager? I guess he would remain in that capacity until we change. So we would need to then schedule the executive session to talk about that with the attorney.
Yeah, I definitely support the executive session. As far as Chief McCray being in the position, that was a motion from last week. So unless we were to change that, I think we're safe.
And there may even be an opportunity after speaking with the attorney to, if there is a way for us to move forward with compensating Chief McCray appropriately for the extra added duties that he got, to make that effective retroactive, I believe. So I don't know that we should be able to work those details out in an executive session, I would think.
Yeah, I agree with that. So should we make arrangements then to go ahead and contact the city attorney and schedule that executive session?
I see our city manager just burning his wrist up over there taking notes. So. I'm sure he'll set us up an executive session. Is that what we're thinking?
If that's what you'd like, I'll set one up.
Perfect.
Please.
Any more discussion on H2?
No, but if we're going to schedule an executive session, then I think we should have an open session afterward, and we may have an update on the search firms and the recruiting agencies, and maybe we could take action
Move
then
forward on that. That's a good idea.
It's as part of the executive session, I'd also like to add in to the discussion the letter received regarding collective bargaining and just what our options are. I'd like to discuss that with the attorney.
Counselor Fulton, you've been awful quiet. Are we good?
We are good.
Okay. Then I'm moving on to agenda item I, remarks from mayor and councilors.
Well, I'll go ahead and go first. Big thank you to our Public Works and our Public Safety Department personnel, as well as all of our city employees, as the change is coming along. Thank you to Coast Community Health, David and Laura, for bringing us the information tonight, and of course to Jeannie, Connie, Michael, Athena, and Amanda for your comments tonight. I'd also like to make sure that we're all very cognizant of our IT tech person, Brian. That's like a huge thank you to go out to him, his time making sure everything runs smooth for our city employees here. Of course, the City Council wants to be very deliberate in choosing someone, and it's critical that we do find and then choose throughout a well-defined process to ensure that we have the best person for the job and a smooth transition. An interim, which I think very much for Chief McCray to come in and do that as he takes us through all these steps as well. And I appreciate your willingness to take part in that. Thank you.
I have a quick comment. I know on our next scheduled workshop, I think we already have a pretty full plate of what we're talking of potential discussion items, but we heard from a few people tonight about TPAC and the use of the TOT tax, and that may be a good workshop subject as we start the budget process as well, to discuss the history of TPAC and what happened previously, and if there's interest in reforming a committee similar to that to talk about tourist promotion and how the TOT money is spent.
I agree. I think the workshop would be a great forum to learn a little bit more about that and some of the details involve the community. one other item I'd also, and it sounds like we have a pretty full docket on the workshop, but I did attend, as well as Tony, the Southwest Area Commission on Transportation, and there were some grant opportunities that were brought up as part of that, and I would like to have a little bit of discussion about that with everyone. It doesn't have to be here tonight, but just discuss a little bit some of the available grants that might be for the city for they call it a carbon reduction program, but it covers things like additional charging stations where they would match funds 90% to the city's 10% for items like that. And so I guess I would want to maybe have a little bit of discussion about that. I'd like the city to, maybe have some information for us at that meeting. How many charging stations do we have? How often are they serviced? And, what are some of, if we do have some in place, what are some of those, costs, maintenance costs? And anyway, just kind of look into it. And I think a workshop would be a good opportunity to do that. I'm certainly willing to present what I learned at the last meeting to the council, but I'd like to hear some of that information from the city so that we could decide whether or not that grant seems like a good idea for us and a good fit. So.
Anyone else? All right, I'll be the last one here. I want to thank Coastal Community Health, Dave, Laura, the whole group. I have a little bit of understanding of sort of behind the curtain of healthcare dollars, and I think sometimes there's a wrong thought that there's competition when different healthcare places open up in a community, but that's really not the case. As a matter of fact, healthcare is usually very supportive of more healthcare coming in because it brings more healthcare dollars into our community. And so I'm extremely supportive and happy to hear the progress you guys are making there. So thank you for that presentation. And as we all know, each piece, dental, mental health, of course, primary care, I mean, we are in a severe shortage. And so that's just exciting to hear. So thank you for all that hard work and going after those dollars, because I know there's a lot of red tape and hoops and to jump through and bridges to build and all that fun stuff. So thank you very much. And then there was some discussion here, and I've also received some emails related to, and I guess not received some emails related to funds and how they're spent. And I know I shouldn't say this, but I feel like I'm speaking for the rest of the council when I say we all want to be extremely transparent about funds, where they're going, what went where. And I believe we will do that to the best that we can. I do need everyone to understand, though, when it comes to a city manager role, the city council it's sort of like the city manager works for the city council, and there's certain employment things that just can't be public, but whatever can be, of course, should be. So I want to say that, but I'm afraid there might be some things that have been asked for that will disappoint people because we can't do it. We can't give that info out, and so we have to be cautious about that. But we'll be guided by what we can and can't do, and make sure we don't add risk to what we say, but also be as transparent as we can, for sure. And in a lot of areas, not just in one area of cost or one area of concern, but even in as we talk about firms for looking for a replacement full-time and like a headhunter group. So I just wanted to put that out there, just again as an FYI. And then I had it written down as well, so I just want to reiterate these other tourism dollars. I would love to get a little more information as well. I think I'm admittedly pretty ignorant of the history of that and where it's went. So I'm excited to find out more about that, and I'm sure we can get some workshops together to really learn more. And then I guess thought I had one more thing, but I don't see it. So one last call, anyone? Oh, one last thing actually is thank you, Kelby. That was it. Again, I know I said it earlier, but thank you.
So I was going to add to that of thanking Kelby and the department directors for their hard work this past week dealing with this transition and their dedication to the city. So I think everybody at City Hall did a great job this past week dealing with this transition that was difficult for some of them.
Yes, thank you, all the department heads and members of the departments. I know it's been a week. Anything else? All right, then I guess we're adjourned at 8:18. Thank you.